alongside by Ty Wilkinson here at Charger Stadium. So, Ty, I turn to you. The first thing I say is, when you think of these two teams, what first comes to mind? When I say to you Lone Peak and Corner Canyon, what immediately comes to mind?
First word I would have to say, Alex, has to be momentum. The momentum game of both these teams coming into the playoffs is fierce, it's talented, and above all, I feel like the stamina of both teams during the playoffs are going to pay dividends to how they go for the rest of the season. Obviously, these two teams are going to have to match up, and one is only going to have to go home, and one is going to have to stay. So, Alex, the question of the day is who's going to stay and who's going to go?
It certainly is. I mean, both of these teams are no strangers to these playoff situations before, Ty. They bet last year, of course, on ESPN, and Lone Peak ran in a runaway, or Corner Canyon, rather, won in a runaway against LP. And Lone Peak, of course, is coming off a surprising result, I should say, 14-3 over Mountain Ridge last week. But what stands out to you the most about their win last week?
The biggest thing that stood out to me is that their ability to win, Alex. This was a team that struggled, as we saw during Westlake, whenever we called that game. And we said after the game that they weren't doing as well as we thought they would be, expectation-wise. I mean, this was a team that going into the game should have, I would say, beaten Westlake by a wider portion, but instead had to make it a little bit of a closer game. So I was a little bit worried about them going into, but playoffs gave them a little bit more reassurance going into this game and a little bit more momentum.
Now, Corner Canyon doesn't need much introducing. I mean, they come off a shutout win last week at home here against the Layton Lancers. And let me tell you, they look like a well-oiled machine. And let me tell you, there is no better team, I think, right now than a lot of people think, than the Corner Canyon Chargers, led by head coach Eric Kerr.
And they were kind of given a little bit of leeway, too, because American Fork was considered the favorite above all teams in Utah, and Corner Canyon came in second. So, to be honest with you, Alex, I think they have more to prove than American Fork does being in that number one ranked position. They want to prove that they are that number one team, and they're going to have to play Lone Peak in order to do so.
Well, it should be an interesting matchup. Like we said, these two teams are longtime titans of Utah high school football, and we are set for another great matchup between the Knights and the Chargers here in Draper. We'd like to remind you the Rewind Sports Network's presentation of the UHSAA playoffs is presented all school year long by Heidemann & Associates, the full-service law firm fully committed to winning for you, the clients. When we come back, we'll have the Heidemann & Associates keys to the game and the kickoff to your quarterfinal Friday. The road to Rice Eccles starts here at Corner Canyon High School. This is Lone Peak Football on the Rewind Sports Network, presented by G2G.
From commercial to recreational truck accessories, Mountain Land Truck Outfitters has got what you need. Flatbeds, spray and bed liners, lifts and leveling kits, wheels and tires. Mountain Land Truck Outfitters proudly uses a brand you know and trust. And with our experienced, knowledgeable, and friendly staff, your visit here will be informative and enjoyable. Stop into our convenient location in Provo at 265 South 100 West or call 801-225-4637 to get a quote for your fleet or individual truck. Mountain Land Truck Outfitters.
The Rewind Sports Network's coverage of Lone Peak football is presented by G2G Protein Bar. It's also presented by Crumble Cookies. Crumble Cookies bringing families and family together over a box of the best cookies in the world. And by Tire Factory Point S. No stress with Point S Tire and Auto Service. Proud sponsor of the Rewind Sports Network's presentation of Lone Peak football. Alexander Timop alongside Ty Wilkinson here at Corner Canyon, I should say, at Charger Stadium. So it's time now for the Heidemann Associates keys to the game, presented by the full-service law firm, committed to winning for you, the client. Ty, what jumps out to you about these two teams to come out of here with a W?
And what a key way, I would say, for Corner Canyon to win is in order to stop this offense. And we've seen guys like Trey Robinson, Jason Mayberry, Logan Hoffman, some of the best wide receivers that you can hear in the name. And honestly, if the defensive back is good in the secondary for Corner Canyon, they should be able to get the win. As if you're Corner Canyon, here's the thing. If you want to win, get it to Tate Kajar. He's got 142 yards per game on an average given by passes from Isaac Wilson, who has 41 touchdowns on the season. So, once again, offense and defense, we know it too well, Alex. It's football, and it's going to be pay dividends.
And Adam Connors is the one who kicks us away. And the kickoff will be taken at the 5-yard line. And a good return up to the 30. by Drew Watcott, and he's brought down across the 30, and we already have pushing and shoving between the two squads, and you would expect that, Ty, being that these are the two longtime titans of Utah high school football.
The pot can boil, Alex, and especially in games like these with such history and such diversity to it as well. Both these teams want to prove something. They want to have another playoff run, and once again, Corner Canyon, as we know, has been a massive powerhouse, and Lone Peak wants to try to prevent that at all costs.
They will start 1st and 10 on their 31-yard line with the Utah commit Isaac Wilson in the shotgun. He drops back to pass, and he'll quarterback draw on 1st down, and he's got a lane. He's at the 40, got a block at midfield, gets across midfield, and he's brought down, but not before he gets to the 45-yard line. Interesting call there on 1st down, but the Chargers had their first down of the ball game.
A team you don't see run the ball very often just because of that arm that just ran the ball. It's really interesting.
Isaac Wilson on 1st down, hands to the near side, and not much running room. Brighton Brady, the tailback, starting this afternoon, number 17, he gets brought down after a pickup of maybe a yard. They'll give him 2 yards on the play, 2nd and 8 here. Just underway here, Alexander Timolip, Ty Wilkinson on this Friday afternoon. Kickoff temperature 64 degrees here in Draper. It is a gorgeous day. As Isaac Wilson, low snap on 2nd down. Pressure coming. He throws into the seam for Care, and it's incomplete. He was double covered pretty well there by Jaden Mayberry and Landon Goff. And the Utah State commit, who went over 100 yards receiving last week, Take Care, already on display right there.
Solid coverage to bring up 3rd down here, Alex. You want to kind of try to push Corner Canyon a little bit back in their zone. You're already across midfield if you're Lone Peak. So this is a big 3rd down if you can try to prevent the line to gain, which is really, really close to this extent.
Wilson on 3rd down, trying to set up the screen, and the pass is deflected and incomplete. Easton Anderson there on the deflection.
The power of the blitz.
And a 4th down coming up and an early decision coming up here for head coach Eric Kerr, who is the de facto play caller and offensive coordinator.
Once again, Alex, they ran the blitz, and it really, really worked this time. As you could tell, the pressure was applied, trying to get the ball away as soon as possible, and almost if it looks like no one was in the vicinity. So what's interesting here is the offense is going to stay on the field. I don't see a punt team or a field goal team, so they might try to draw them off sides.
Wilson with triple wide receivers in the shotgun, takes the snap. 4-man rush, looking, throws, that's complete, and a 1st down. On the quick hitch pattern. Pass is complete to number 5, Braden Iyer, and he has a 1st down inside the 30.
Good out route, too, to get out of bounds. Not only does it stop clock, but it also gets you right across that line to gain.
So 1st and 10, Corner Canyon on the Lone Peak 28-yard line, just off and running. Alexander Timolip alongside Ty Wilkinson, Addison Kerr on the camera. And the play action by Wilson, and the RPO pass is a little bit behind and incomplete. Intended on the play that time for number 4. That's Jerome Miles, the 6'2 junior. Second down now coming up. A lot of passing we do expect from this Charger offense here, at least in the early going.
Not exactly a shocker either, considering the passers that you have and the receivers that you have.
Wilson on 2nd down. Quarterback draw again, looking for a lane. This time he'll pick up about maybe 7 before he's brought down by a host of Knights on the play. Tegan Towell and Easton Anderson led the charge, and another 3rd down here for the Chargers.
Good job by the offense there for Corner Canyon to try to split that little area. You could see he found a gap right in the team. They had to split the seam in order to get the area, and he managed to get right through it, and now they're sitting really close here on 3rd down. Already
0 for 1 on 3rd downs on this drive. They're going to try to run it with Watcott, and he gets stoned. Great penetration up front. And that's Bot Mulatalo, number 0, who makes his return to the lineup, along with Gideon Hawkins, the nose tackle, and another 4th down coming up here for the Charger offense.
Second time we've seen it tonight, Alex, already, and Lone Peak comes out fierce, and as they're going to go for it on 4th down.
They're going to try to draw him offside, and they don't bite. Isaac Wilson, the Utah commit, staring right into the teeth of that fearsome Lone Peak defense. Play clock down to 7. Play clock down to 5. Down to 4. Down to 2. Down to 1. They got it away. Wilson, good protection. Looking, throws in the end zone. Touchdown, Corner Canyon. Drew Watcott into the end zone. And the Corner Canyon Chargers 2 for 2 on 4th down on the drive, and they strike first.
Like you said, Alex, 2 for 2 on 4th down. How can you do it better than that? Down the field from a team that started out at the 30-yard line, goes 70 yards to take it into the house. And once again, that 2 4th down conversions, especially on 3rd down plays that Lone Peak was able to do very well.
Extra point is up, and it is good. 7-0 Corner Canyon, off to a hot start this afternoon. 0 for 2 on 3rd downs, but they convert when it matters the most on 4th down, and they've got the early lead here at home. Odeon Missionary Wear is proud to sponsor KSL Sports Rewind's coverage of the Utah High School playoffs. It's also presented by Ideal Kitchen and Bath. Do it once, do it right. And also by Tech 9. Tech happily with Tech 9, where Utah goes for custom software development. So as we said, Alexander Timolip joined by Ty Wilkinson here at Chargers Stadium. Corner Canyon 0 for 2 on 3rd down, but 2 for 2 on 4th down. And they find the end zone first here, 7-0 our score.
And, Alex, there's a really good reason for that, and that's it. There's no place like home. And the reason I say that is they only have 1 loss all season. That's arguably one of the best teams in the nation of Bishop Gorman. And you do so well during the regular season. They even did so well on the road. And I say no place like home because this is the playoffs, and it's obviously good to clinch a really good position if you're Corner Canyon.
Kickoff will go to the goal line, bobbled and held by Robinson. Trey Robinson trying to get outside. Good one-on-one tackle on the edge there. And that will bring out Jackson Blake in this Lone Peak offense, who really has seemed to hit to find a little bit of traction in the past couple of games, especially in the running game. Even though the results might not show it, this team is still dangerous.
It's still very dangerous, Alex, and the reason because, well, you feel like this was a run-oriented team. We once again called that game against Westlake where they ran the ball, it feels like, most of the time, but they have so many more options that they could choose from.
1st and 10 from the 17, and Jackson Blake going to flare it out to Brooks Wild, and that was a little bit too far out of his reach. They had the screen pretty well set up. Again, Jackson Blake, who was the starter for the Knights for the first game of the year against Bingham, and then subsequently was benched in that home loss to Timpview, and then subsequently was injured. So he's been through the ringer in quite a bit this season. 2nd and 10 now from the 18. Blake to throw, or rather the handoff, and that's Brooks Wild, and he gets stoned at the line of scrimmage. Cash Dillon, among others, gets to him right there, and it's a pickup of a yard and a 3rd and long coming up here for the Knights.
Corner Canyon doing a really good job to apply the pressure, Alex. We've seen this team to and through it out, it feels like. Each team that they play, their defensive structure has just been so able to hold these teams to drives, especially in the first quarter, as stats have shown.
3rd down and a long 9. Under 9 minutes, rolling clock here at Charger Stadium. They bring 3 this time. Blake, good protection, throws up the seam route, and that pass is incomplete. A lot of hand fighting. And a flag comes in late from the back. Seth Haskett was the intended receiver, and he was being locked up pretty well in coverage by Moke Gabrielson, one of the better corners that CC has. But apparently for the referee's liking, there was a little bit too much hand fighting.
Just a little bit too much, too. And you could see the pressure was applied just by the way the ball was thrown out of the hands. And it feels like this one is going to go, yep, indeed it is. It's going to go Lone Peak's way. So an easy 1st down, I'd say, Alex, right there.
And it's a holding call, not a pass interference call. So it is not 15 yards, it is 10 yards. Moves the ball up to the 29-yard line, so it's a difference of about maybe 5 yards. Logan Hoffines in motion, 1st and 10 from the 29. A little quarterback power here for Jackson Blake, and he gets over left guard before he gets chopped down in the middle of the defense. Picked up about maybe I'll call it about 3 or 4 on the play. They'll give it 4 on the play, actually.
We've seen the run game time and time again, it feels like, from Lone Peak, trying to get that momentum gain, especially against a team, Alex, that's basically a brick wall, especially during the playoffs.
Cruz Staley was the one who made the last tackle. Now it's a handoff to Wild here on second down, trying to drive the legs forward. And look at him squirm very close to that first down marker. It looked like he got stood up, but then he kept charging the legs forward. And that's exactly why he's one of the best running backs in the state, as we have a player down for Corner Canyon. And Ty, this is often what can happen. You get in the middle of one of those piles, you got people falling on top of legs, and this is what can often happen.
I mean, the amount of inertia that Wild had going into that run can probably cause a lot of damage, especially when you're trying to stop a freight train like that. Just an unfortunate scenario here, Alex.
A very unfortunate scenario. We'll take a break and be back in just a moment after this word from the Salt Lake Running Company as they attend to the injured player. Back in quick here. The injured player was able to get up on his own power and get off the field. Third down and less than a yard here for Lone Peak. Robinson goes in motion. Wild the handoff. He's got it and then some, and a first down as he's chopped down across the 40-yard line. And that has to be good to see there, Ty, especially with that running game struggling the way it's been the last couple of weeks.
Well, Brooke Wright, well, we've seen it time and time again. He only has 2 touchdowns this year on his resume, Alex, which doesn't prove the stats that he's such a good runner in regards to the open field. Obviously, the touchdowns don't prove on his resume that he's as good as he actually is, but teams will look at stats like that and be like, oh, we can handle this guy. Sometimes you can prove you're wrong. Yep.
And then you can't. That's the problem with the guy named Brooks Wild, who's academic all-state. On 1st and 10, this is Blake to pass. Throw is caught. Sitting in the zone and making the catch is Jayshawn Mayberry, number 12. And he'll pick up about maybe close to 6 yards on the play.
Well, Alex, ever since that holding penalty, Lone Peak has been able to gain some traction here, it feels like. Obviously, right now, sitting really close to Corner Canyon's midfield and trying to get across that line. And what I like is obviously the momentum gain. As we talked about, these are 2 teams coming into the playoffs with a lot of momentum and a lot to prove. So I think they're going to try to prove everything they can here as Lone Peak is trying to push within the zone.
Second down and 4 now. Ball at the 49. Handoff goes to Wild. Big hole. Brooks Wild still going. Brooks Wild brought down inside the 20. And that is exactly what Lone Peak's offensive coordinator Gary Trowbridge wants to see out of that running game. It's those kinds of big runs that set up the passing game for Jackson Blake.
I give credit to the O-line on that one. Look at the blockers. Unbelievable. And puts them right at the red zone. And you're not going to stop Brooks Wild, like we talked about. All the amount of inertia that's coming out of those legs in that run game is unbelievable. Yeah,
credit also to Maddox Moss and Jared Smith, the right side of the line. It was Smith who got the kick-out block, and then Maddox Moss finished off at the second level. 1st and 10 from the Corner Canyon 20. Another running play, and another 5 yards or 6 or 7 or 8. As the handoff goes to Gabriel Tom, number 21, the backup running back. And he picks up about maybe 7 or 8 yards.
Good for the backup getting in there and getting some playing time during the playoffs. I mean, you talk about Brooke Wild and the amount of just run that he has and the amount of leg speed, the inertia we keep talking about. The physics of the running game is unbelievable. And I don't know, Alex, trying to get past this Corner Canyon team is a hard task to do.
They come out this time tight end as the H-back with Gabriel Tom as the running back. Actually, 2 tight ends in the formation. They bring a receiver in motion to the left. And it's a play action. Blake throws, and it's incomplete. Boy, Trey Robinson was wide open, and I think that's one Jackson Blake, he's patting himself on the chest. That's one he'd like to have back.
He's hitting himself in the head right now, Alex. He wants that one back. Kind of had that little seam route. Once again, we've seen this Lone Peak team do it before against Westlake. The amount of touchdowns that they had during that game was pretty particular, as we saw. But once again, those routes, and when you miss a man like that, and you can fake out Corner Canyon can adapt to that. So now you got to pick something different.
They come out in the ace backfield this time. That's a new wrinkle. And it's a direct snap to Brooks Wild. And Wild is going to be short. They tried to fool him that time, and that time it was Keaton Adamson who came up from his strong safety position, and we have a 4th down coming up here. And this is going to be a really interesting decision here for Ty, for offensive coordinator Gary Trowbridge. How aggressive do you play it here on 4th and a yard?
This is a 12-play drive right now, Alex, and I think you have to go for this. You're a yard short, and you need points in the playoffs. 3 points is not going to do you dividends, especially when you're down. Jackson
Blake, the snake, and he's got it. All that 6'2 frame of his shoves right across the line, and he's got the first down at the 10.
Oh, Alex, I love a game of risk. Obviously, I can't gamble, but...
Well, neither can I, so get in line. But Blake does pick up the first down. He needed 1, and he got... Boy, he got almost 2 yards on that play. Credit the big offensive line once again. And so Corner Canyon converts on the 4th down. So both teams converting on the big downs here early on. So it'll be 1st and goal for Lone Peak. Ball at the Corner Canyon 10, trying to answer back. Play clock down to 5. They broke the huddle late, and they had some trouble getting personnel on, and they just got it away. Blake to throw. Throws out to the flat. That's complete. Robinson needs to make a man miss, and he can't make a man miss. Gabrielson gets him around the ankles at around the 6-yard line, and it is a pickup of Bobby before on the play. 2nd and goal.
Alex, if I'm judging the play at hand, I think Robinson should have kept going to the out route, because if he beats out the defensive back in the end, I think he can keep going for a little bit more yards, but at the same time, I feel like this is a little bit more space. When you're a team pushing inside the 2nd down and goal marker, you want to get a little bit more space in the back. You don't want to push so close that you don't know where to throw, because the closer you go on the 1st down and goal, or sorry, the 2nd down and goal in this case, is the less amount of yards and area that you have in the end zone.
Brooks Wild on the handoff, on the sweep on 2nd and goal. Tries to hurdle over a man, and he'll pick up maybe a yard, if anything. And they give him nothing on the play. Gain of 0 yards on that play, and another 3rd down coming up for the Lone Peak team. And now the question becomes, do you throw the ball or do you potentially run it here to try to get it close?
Well, Alex, I think you got to try to run the ball. I feel like, Brook Wild, as we've seen, is really, really good at the run game. We've seen him time and time again with the runs, as well as, well, I don't know, it just feels like you got to run the ball in this situation, especially considering Corner Canyon has allowed as many yards as they have.
Lone Peak once again having trouble getting personnel out there, and we have a timeout call by head coach Bart Brockbank. So a big 3rd down coming up here. 3 minutes even left to go here in the first quarter play.
Holy smokes.
It is a 7-0 scoreline, with the Lone Peak Knights threatening at the goal line. Welcome back to Corner Canyon and Chargers Stadium. KSL Sports Rewind's coverage of the playoffs is presented in part by Heidemann & Associates, and Lone Peak football is also presented by Tile Ram. Start your remodel right with dust-free demolition, and by Black Desert. Remarkable within reach. 3rd down and goal here for Lone Peak on the 6-yard line. Alexander Timolip and Ty Wilkinson here at Charger Stadium. Play action. Blake looking, throws, touchdown! What a catch! And what a throw as well! It was complete to the H-back on the play, number 18 for Lone Peak. That is Mason Thorpe, the 6'3 senior. And the Knights do answer back, and they are an extra point from tying the game here with under 3 to go here in the first quarter. And what a throw, too, that time by Jackson Blake. Adam Connors now out of the hold of Seth Haskett for the extra point to make it a 7-all game. Good snap, good hold, and the kick is up, and it is good. 7's on the board here at Corner Canyon.
Alex, a play that was, 16 plays started at the 19-yard line, and that really chewed up a lot of clock, too, as we only sit with a little less than 3 minutes left in the first. And we got 7s on the board.
And how important was that? I mean, how about that throw by Jackson Blake, throwing it into massive traffic in the end zone and finding a way to complete that? that is a real confidence builder against a really tough defense like Corner Canyon's.
Lone Peak, we mentioned, they play the game of risk, and I feel like they play it more than any team we've called this season, Alex. And you got to love a team that plays with a lot of risk, because sometimes high risks have high rewards. And, well, obviously 7s on the board can prove that the risk kind of took into dividends, as we see now Lone Peak tying the game. And that's such a big deal, because when you're not playing behind from Corner Canyon, you got to try to get the ball back during the halftime. So it's kind of a little bit interesting, Alex. Let's see how this goes.
As Ty said, 16 plays, 81-yard drive. Kickoff will be taken by Walcott at the 2. 20, 30, 40. And he is brought down from behind across the 45. And so that will bring out Isaac Wilson in this offense. We got to point out also, the special teams could also be a big dividend, especially the differences on the kickoff returns thus far.
Indeed, Alex. Yards are yards. There's 100 of them until you get to either point or no point. And, well, if your special teams is able to get to that line to gain and a little bit further into across midfield and territory, like that first down marker is already in Lone Peak's territory. So you're already off to a good start, and that's just off of the kickoff alone.
A 44-yard return on the kickoff for Isaac Wilson to set up shop here. Wilson hands off, or rather keeps it. This is Wilson, and he gets chopped down very close to the marker. He gets about 9 on the play. Very interesting. I think that fake kind of threw everybody off back there as he picks up 9 yards, does the Utah commit. Approaching 2 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Both teams have scored on their opening possessions. Alexander Timolip and Ty Wilkinson with Addison Kerr on camera here at Charger Stadium. Play action. Throws. That's complete. Iyer. Another first down of the RPO play up to the 34-yard line of LP.
And you can notice the difference here, Alex. Lone Peak and Corner Canyon. Corner Canyon runs the fast game. They want to get down and they want to score as soon as possible. Saw it from special teams. This is this is now their 4th play of the drive. And look, they're already within their zone, and they're just going to try to score here, Alex. Feels like.
You would think so.
Yeah.
Double wide receivers either side on 1st and 10. Wilson all day throws, man open, and it is incomplete as Wilson took a bit of a shot from Bot Mulitalo at the end of the play. No flag. He was looking for the Utah State commit, Take Care. And that's the second time that we've seen the pressure have an impact on Wilson's throws this afternoon, especially when he's going to Take Care.
And there were options too, Alex. If you could see in the Farrar end zone, you had 2 men available, and I thought he was going to go to him. He looks at him for about 2 seconds, but nope, he didn't go for that option. He went to the other side, and unfortunately that was not caught, and now Corner Canyon, exactly where they started.
2nd and 10 from the 34. Wilson, quarterback draw. He does this a lot, and he does this pretty well. He's going to be brought down about a yard shy of the first down, and they're going to actually give him the spot on 1st down and 10 from the 24-yard line.
As we mentioned, speed plays a factor, and, well, Corner Canyon kind of does it better than anyone else in this division, Alex.
1st and 10 from the 24-yard line for CC. Wilson throws the inside screen, complete to Take Care. And Take Care gets dragged down shoestring style from behind by Gideon Hawkins as somebody lost their helmet. It looked like it was one of the offensive linemen trying to ID him here, number 73. And number 73, that's Zion Finau, who lost his helmet, so he'll have to come out for a play. Cash Dillon now comes in as the de facto slot receiver to the left side. Walcott, the tailback behind Wilson. Wilson to throw. Wilson throws to the end zone, and it is broken up. Great play. Braden Iyer, the intended receiver, and getting his hands on it was C.J. Rubel, the left side corner. And it's 3rd down.
You talk about great coverage in the pocket, too, in the other side. I mean, you look at the area that's pretty much available to a wide receiver. You see that little square right in the end zone there, Alex? That's about the amount that he had of land space just to try to catch that ball. And if you're the defense, that's a really good sign because you can just come up there, you can try to block, and obviously no flag on that play. Don't take the pass interference.
On 3rd down, Wilson, extra man on the rush. Passes Incomplete. Looked like it was thrown a little bit in front. No flag coming in from the back. And it is 4th down. And again, another 4th down here, Ty. And we'll see if Eric Kerr wants to go for it again. He's already 2 for 2 in this quarter on 4th.
2 for 2, Alex. And you can see the amount of emotion in between each team, the amount of attention.
4th down and 4. Corner Canyon has yet to convert a 3rd down in this quarter. They're 0 for 4, but they're 2 for 2 on 4th down.
Lots of controversy on the sideline right now, too, Alex.
And we got a flag, and now it's going to be 4th and 9. So it'll be 4th and 9 now from the 23-yard line. That makes it a whole lot harder here to convert. From here, it'd be about a 40-yard field goal, but I seriously doubt you'd want to give a chance to that Lone Peak defense as the student section across the way. And a pretty large contingent of LP supporters in that west stand trying to turn up the volume knob here on 4th down.
I think that's what's causing this Corner Canyon team to get thrown off guard, Alex, is the away crowd. You can hear him from here, and you can hear him really well.
Extra men on the rush. Wilson to throw. Gets hit as he throws. Looking for Kerr. Incomplete. And Lone Peak holds on 4th down, and they'll get the ball back. Bob Mulatalo, Easton Anderson, among others, with the pressure.
Alex, you talk about a defensive stand. I think Lone Peak has all the momentum in the world that you can feel like. You have a fan base like that to back you up. I feel like Corner Canyon might be in a little bit of trouble here, considering, well, the noise aspect, I think, is almost double of what we're hearing from our side over here on Corner Canyon.
A lot of tension in the air right now, Ty. You can feel it. Very nervous.
You gotta love playoff football.
These two teams have a propensity for instant classics. As Blake to throw on 1st down. Pump fakes. He's got a man. Robinson. It is caught. What a catch. Robinson again. It looked like he was double covered, but Jackson Blake said, forget it. He's got to be down there somewhere.
You said it looks like. He was definitely double coverage there, Alex. What a catch behind the back into the breadbasket. Unbelievable.
What a throw by Jackson Blake. He has come out with some major intensity here in this opening quarter. This Lone Peak team playing with a fire we haven't really seen all season long as Brooks Wild goes up the middle, and he'll take it for about maybe 5. As some scrapping for the ball after the play, as that will likely take us to the end of the first quarter here, Ty. And I have to tell you, if you have been following Lone Peak football all season long, the way they have been, who said this was coming?
Not
Who
me.
said this
Not
was
me
coming?
at all. How do you expect something like this, the amount of firepower that Lone Peak has been able to prove?
2nd and 5 now from the 39. Blake to throw. That's complete. Sitting in the zone and making the catch is Thorpe. And he's got the 1st down, brought down at the marker, and that will be another 1st down with 6 seconds left here in the first quarter. And that should now take us to the end of what's been an exciting first quarter. There have been 4 possessions as the siren goes off here at Chargers Stadium. Lone Peak coming out with some serious energy and juice, giving the number 2 seed, Corner Canyon, a test here at the early going. Welcome back to the Rewind Sports Network's coverage of Lone Peak football, presented by G2G Protein Bar. It's presented by G2G, helping busy people eat well when they're on the go. It's also presented by Legacy Power, smart energy solutions for a better future, and Black Desert, remarkable within reach. And it's also presented by Walmart. Save money, live better at Walmart. Well, Alexander Timolip and Ty Wilkinson for this quarterfinal matchup in the 6A football playoffs. LP and Corner Canyon deadlocked at 7. As Lone Peak has the ball following a turnover on downs by Corner Canyon, deep in their own territory, 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line. In the ace backfield, it's Jackson Blake handing off. This is Brooks Wild, gets behind left guard, and this time he gets met at the line of scrimmage. got maybe a yard on the play that time. Caden Bonham coming up from his linebacker spot made the hit.
And Alex, you see 2nd down and long now. Interesting play call is going to have to become courtesy of Lone Peak, considering that Corner Canyon has figured out the run game. It feels like a little bit of Brooks Wild in stopping that, once again, freight train of a running back that you've seen.
2nd down, 9 now from the 34. Blake to throw. Good protection. Gets hit as he throws. A dunk up in the air. It's picked off. And out of bounds inside the 40-yard line. Run back on the play. Brock White, the strong safety. And the first big turnover of the game belongs to the Corner Canyon defense and Cody Gardner's defense. Big play right there.
And if you're Corner Canyon, that is what you need. You get that 4th down conversion that was not given in your favor, giving Lone Peak the ball, and they took it pretty close to the distance there, Alex, but quarterback gets hit as he thrown, and now they sit in really good position.
1st and 10 from the 48-yard line of Lone Peak. This is Isaac Wilson. Wilson makes a man miss on the outside the 30 and shoved out of bounds at about the 25-yard line. They have run that play to perfection here early on.
Good for another Charger. 1st down.
From the 27 now, 1st and 10. Corner Canyon looking to cash in on the turnover. Wilson keeps it, and this time he gets stoned. Josh Empey wasn't fooled on that play, and that's the first time that they've stopped that read option play. Isaac Wilson and the Chargers' first drive of the ball game ended up in the end zone on 4th down. Then Lone Peak answered with a 16-play, 81-yard drive that took up almost 6 minutes to tie the ball game. And then it was back-to-back turnovers. Turnover on downs one end, and then on the other side, it was an interception thrown by Jackson Blake. 2nd and 10 from the 27. Wilson to throw. Good protection. Throws into the seam, and that's almost picked off. Jaden Mayberry got his hands on that one, and he probably should have had an interception right there.
Wouldn't that have been good defense, too, and trying to get that momentum back in the favor of Lone Peak. We can tell that the other side, Alex, is really shown out today, and, well, that's courtesy of the Lone Peak fan base and how good of a program that they've been able to accomplish throughout their football seasons. But once again, this is going to be a game of momentum, and you can kind of just feel it in the air.
Both teams have yet to convert a 3rd down in this game, or actually, Corner Canyon yet to convert a 3rd down. They're 0 for 4 on 3rd downs. Isaac Wilson on 3rd down. Blitz coming. Sets up the screen. Walcott with blockers. Walcott, 1st down. Touchdown. I think he has it. I may have gotten ahead of myself. I apologize. Was he in? Yes. Touchdown, Corner Canyon. What a call there by offensive coordinator and head coach Eric Kerr. And right down the field go the Corner Canyon Chargers. In just 4 plays, they're in the end zone, and they regain the lead. And we have a flag as, wouldn't you know it, there's too many men on the field on the extra point. So back it up 5 yards. 10:04 left first half. An exciting one here. Another instant classic between these two football titans could be brewing here. Good snap, good hold. The extra point is up, and it is good. 14-7 in favor of Corner Canyon with 10 minutes and 4 seconds left in the very first half. Back after this word from UC Youth Conference Football.
U Conference football registration is open
for running the blitz. See it time and time again.
I thought it was running. It's not. Anyway. I didn't. Welcome back, everyone, to Corner Canyon High School and Chargers Stadium. 14-7 in favor of the Corner Canyon Chargers. Off the turnover by Jackson Blake. After what looked like was a promising drive, Lone Peak back on offense once more, trying to respond once more.
Lone Peak, Alex, plenty of opportunities for the offense thus far. Getting across midfield twice, and both drives that they've had, unfortunately, one did not go in their favor and resulted in an interception for points. So, as we know, Corner Canyon got those points off of that particular possession in the interception. We'll see if they can turn that around and try to get a little bit more of momentum in their favor.
Here's Robinson on the return. And Trey Robinson stayed on his feet for about a couple of seconds and then got swung to the turf at about the 30-yard line. So a decent return there for the Knights as they'll come out on offense once more, and we'll see what Jackson Blake has in his back pocket to try to respond to that interception he threw on the last drive.
Once again, Alex, we talk about the amount of yards that Lone Peak has been able to confer over these past few games, especially during the playoffs. One of the best run and well as passing games that you can probably see in the sport in the state of Utah.
Luke Christensen now in at quarterback as Brooks Wild takes the handoff, and he's got a hole. And Brooks Wild all the way out close to midfield. So the change at quarterback, and then they go with Brooks Wild, the tailback, and all helter-skelter.
Well, Alex, we saw Lone Peak struggle against Westlake that one time we called them. And to tell you the truth, I don't think they got across the 50-yard line very often, at least as much as they've done so far tonight. They're 3 for 3.
And that's with Luke Christensen, by the way, at quarterback now. Jackson Blake, by the way, is on the sideline. No word yet if he's injured or if he's just not playing this series, or see if Bart Brockbank wants to change it up. Here's Wild again, cutting back to the inside. He'll get a couple up to the 47-yard line, marked it officially at the 46. They give him 2 on the play.
Well, Alex, I mentioned, too, the run game of Wild has been figured out by Corner Canyon. He's only averaging about 2 or 3 yards on his carries that he's gotten thus far. You're just meeting a blue brick wall at that point just because they figured you out that much. Of course, your O-line can try to do so much, try to bridge a gap and try to make a little bit of something happen, but it looks like the run game is being figured out courtesy of Corner Canyon.
And that's credit to Cody Gardner, the defensive coordinator for CC. One of the best in the league. Have been doing it for a long time. Christensen bails out. Penalty flag goes down. Now he goes down. The ball comes out. And we'll see if Lone Peak was able to get back on top of it.
It looks like he fell back on top of it, but I would assume incorrectly, I assume.
And then we got some pushing and shoving after the play. And Christensen does look like he has the football in his possession. But there's a penalty marker back on the edge of the Charger logo at the 45. And where that is tossed, I'm suspecting it's coming back. So we'll see what head coach Eric Kerr wants to do here, if he wants to take the penalty or leave it be. It'll be 3rd down and about maybe 14 from the 49-yard line. Christensen trying to do a little too much right there, as you see the holding penalty called against Corner Canyon, or rather against Lone Peak. And it will be 3rd down and a mile here. 3rd down and call it 14 here. And this is the longest 3rd down by far that either side has had.
Tough spot, too, that they put him at as well. And, Alex, that's what, obviously, the pressure can do to your team. As we've mentioned before, Corner Canyon kind of has this Lone Peak team figured out in the sense that, well, the keeper game is not going to be work anymore.
On 3rd down, they bring extra. Christensen going to take off. And he's going to pick up about, maybe call it 10. And that's going to be more than enough to get it within range for this Lone Peak offense to go for it here on 4th down. And now you ask the question of offensive coordinator Gary Trowbridge. What do you do here?
Well, this gives a really interesting situation, Alex. 4th down and 3. You could run the ball. You got Brooke Wild. You could also pass the ball. You have good receiver options, courtesy of a really good arm. And let me say this, though. If you don't convert, you're going to put them in really good field position, as we've seen plenty of times here tonight. So here's a big 4th down, and this is probably going to be determining the game.
Christensen to throw. Throws. Caught. First down. And a big conversion right there to Logan Hoffines. They needed 3, and they get 5 on that play. And that's a big confidence builder, you have to say, right there for quarterback Luke Christensen, the sophomore.
Couple of 4th down conversions. Nobody has decided to punt in this game, Alex, which shows the dire situations that they're in for playoff football. And to say the least. Yeah, I know.
Don't you love that?
I love not seeing the ball having to be punted, especially in situations. I love playing the game of risk. Like I said, I can't gamble, but these two teams, they're walking the line, it feels like, for what opportunities can come out. So far, it's worked for both of them, I will say.
On 1st down and 10, here is a fumble, and Brooks Wild able to get back on top of it at the 40-yard line. And again, not a clean exchange from Christensen to Brooks Wild.
Like you mentioned, a pretty dirty exchange there, Alex. It was a little interesting because it looked like there wasn't a whole lot of communication. One wanted to go one way, wanted to go another, and then, well, that causes a negative reaction, and the ball drops. Not to get all sciencey on you, right? Yeah, I know we're out of school.
Right. It's Friday, too. Come on, man.
Trying to work for the weekend.
6:40 to go. 6:40 to go. First half. 2nd down and 15 for this Lone Peak offense. Christensen, play action, looking to throw. Throws, coming back and making the catch is Robinson. And Robinson's going to get inside the 30, brought down close to the marker. He's going to get brought down right at the 26-yard line. And we'll bring up another 3rd down here for this Lone Peak offense here with 6:16 to go here in the first half.
Open on the get-go there, Alex. He had plenty of room, it felt like, to try to go as far as he wanted. Unfortunately, though, he chose the middle route. He tried to go up the seam instead of trying to go to the left side of the seam, because I think he would have gotten more yards and gotten that line to gain, though.
And he probably would have scored. 3rd down and a yard. Lone Peak 1 for 4 on 3rd downs in this game. It's Wild. And Wild is not going to get there. They had that sniffed out from the start. And it's going to bring up another 4th down here for LP. So both teams struggling on 3rd downs here in this game. Combined 2 of 10 on 3rd downs. 1 for 5 for LP, 1 for 5 for Corner Canyon. And here's another 4th down, of which Corner Canyon is 3 for 3.
All right, Alex, I'll bring up a point real quick earlier in the quarter that this is exactly where Lone Peak is, where they threw that interception. As they now sit 4th down and pretty short, very manageable, but an empty backfield shows you, Brandon, that Brooke Wild is probably not going to run the ball.
We have a timeout before that by Lone Peak. And so they're down to 1 timeout with 5:06 to go, but we'll keep it here. Coming up, top of the hour, KSL Sports Rewind's coverage of the UHSAA playoffs continues. Dusty Litzer and Jeff Hansen have the call from just down the road here in Lehigh as the 3rd-seeded Pioneers play arguably their biggest home game in football history against longtime Region 1 power, the Davis Darts. Dusty Litzer and Jeff Hansen have the call from This Is the Place Pioneer Stadium. That's coming up. Coverage beginning top of the hour, 5 p.m., here on your official home for the Utah High School Sports Championships, KSLSports.com. With my broadcast partner, Ty Wilkinson, joined on the rooftop of Charger Stadium by Addison Kerr on the camera, Alexander Timolip. As Lone Peak facing another 4th down here with 5 minutes and 6 seconds to go. It's a 4th down and 3 for the Knights. Lone Peak and Corner Canyon both scored on their opening possessions of the ball game. But since then, the defenses have done their fair share. As Cody Gardner's defense trying to get off the field here on 4th down from the 33 as the Corner Canyon student section turns up the volume.
Again, an empty backfield, Alex. They're running a 5-receiver option. Let's see how this works.
Christensen throws, hit as he threw, but got it away somehow and got it to Robinson. And he's got the first down to the 18.
Christensen's pass was complete.
Boy, Luke Christensen was under all kinds of duress and somehow stood in there and took the hit and made the play, and another first down. 3 for 3 are the Knights on fourth down in this first half.
Already in the red zone territory now, Alex. That was not like we saw from the previous drive. Last drive he got hit as he thrown, and obviously, as we know, ended into the possession of Corner Canyon. And now, if you're Lone Peak, you're sitting within the zone, and that end zone is getting a lot more sweeter, and you can smell it at this point.
You wonder if that hit on Jackson Blake had anything to do with the fact that he's not in there right now. It's Brooks Wild. Almost got free. He was about another shoestring or two away from getting free to the end zone. But it'll be first and goal LP. Another chunk play pickup of 10 for the senior.
Oh, boy, what a run, too, Alex. He had that, too. You know, as a player, you can kind of feel their emotion as soon as they play. We've been doing this for a long time now. You can kind of just sense the emotion. He wanted that. He knew that there was more green room to run and getting into that gray zone that says Chargers in the back.
Lone Peak down to one timeout. Play clock at 10 here. Under 4 minutes to go. First and goal at the Corner Canyon 8. Christensen to throw. Looking. Throws. Back shoulder. End zone. It is. Is that caught? Is that caught? I don't believe it. It is caught. Touchdown. Oh, my goodness. Jason Mayberry, are you serious?
Are you serious?
I wouldn't be kidding you. What a catch! That, ladies and gentlemen, is a Heidemann and Associates Rewind 5 play. Unbelievable.
You could try that 100 times and probably not end out with the same result.
That's insanity. Adam Connor's extra point is up, and it is good. And looky here, we got 14s on the scoreboard. Holy cow. I mean, you talk about play of the year, Ty Wilkinson. That was incredible.
And not only was it just the play of the year, Alex, that just tied the game.
No big deal, right?
No big
deal.
It
tied the game. I mean, Gabrielson was locked up like flypaper on Jason Mayberry. He went up, snagged it, and as he was coming down, kept it in his grasp, but Gabrielson's left hand on top of it.
Alex, he had about as much space as a 2x4, if not a Lego brick, in the back of and they said he got...
Try a pin needle.
Yeah, try a pin needle. Maybe even a hair out of your head. Unbelievable.
Wow. Adam Connor set to kick off. And it's a squib kick. Trying to keep it away from Watcott. Scramble for it. Watcott gets away from a couple of tackles and smartly gets escorted out of bounds. Out about the 21-yard line. So Isaac Wilson and co. back to work here with 3 minutes and 45 seconds left to go. Again, we'd like to remind you that the Rewind Sports Network's coverage of UHSAA playoff football continues at the top of the hour with Dusty Litzter and Jeff Hansen as they have the call from This Is the Place, Pioneer Stadium, as Lehigh takes on Davis. Meanwhile, we got another dandy brewing here between Corner Canyon and Lone Peak. One you have to say is defying what most people or most prognosticators had about this game. Wilson to throw on first down. Throws! And it's almost picked off. Another flirting with danger moment right there. He was looking for care. And that probably should have been picked off. Jackson Arrington, the Sam linebacker, had his hand on it.
Isaac Wilson, a guy you know doesn't throw a whole lot of picks too, Alex. That hurts.
Quarterback draw on second and long. Wilson gets away across the 40. And the ball comes out, but not before he gets out of bounds at the 45-yard line. But there's a flag down at the 31-yard line. And I suspect Ty, that this is probably coming back.
Yeah, it's definitely a hold, I would have to say there, Alex. Courtesy not only of the spot of the flag, but you can see that Corner Canyon's running back a little bit.
That's the normal rule of thumb, right, Ty? Whenever a flag comes from the umpire in the middle of the field, it is a holding.
We've been around long enough, Alex, to watch enough football games.
We all watched enough football to know, like, that's the standard.
Well, always got to explain it to the people at home, right? Any new watchers?
So Bart Brockbank, by the way, is now out on the field. I think he's trying to wonder where the penalty is spotted. So they're trying to figure out where the penalty was, and they're trying to mark off the correct spot because Brockbank was on the field wondering why the spot is back all the way at basically the original line of scrimmage. But anyway, we got all that sorted out. So officially 2nd down and 11 and a half. 3:32 left here in the first half. Corner Canyon unable to get it to take care. Number 2, who has been targeted 3 times, he still does not have a catch in this ball game. It's a direct snap to Walcott. And Walcott has a first down, and he breaks a couple of tackles. And then the ball comes out, and it's a scramble for the loose ball. Who's got it?
No way.
It looked like Lone Peak has recovered the football. Goodness. They did! Bob Mulatalo forced it, and Towell recovers! Ryan Denny's defense stepping up big time again!
Magic!
And it's Bob Mulatalo making his return to the starting lineup, who stripped the ball out, and then Tegan Towell, the edge rusher, was the one who came up with it.
Lone Peak erupts. Oh, Alex, I love playoff football.
We have just seen it all in this first half, haven't we?
I'm sorry, did you only say it's only in the first half?
Yeah, we're only in the first half. We still got 24 minutes of this to go, buddy. 1st and 10 from the 45. LP. Handoff goes to Wild, left side. And Wild gets brought down after a pickup of about a yard. And he'll make it 2nd and 9 from the 44. Well, in case you just missed it, folks, both teams scored on their opening drive, but since then, only 2 scoring drives, and we've had 4 turnovers, no punts. We've had a turnover on downs by Corner Canyon. We've had an interception thrown by LP. Then we had a turnover on downs by Corner Canyon. And then we had a fumble recovery by Tegan Towell that has turned the tide here at Charger Stadium.
The big stat of the day, though, Alex, is those points off of turnovers that Corner Canyon has. Let's see if Lone Peak can try to capitalize on this opportunity they've been given.
Christensen, 4-man rush, throws, dangerous pass, and it's incomplete. Looking on the sideline for Robinson, and Keaton Adamson comes up with the breakup. And it is 3rd down and 9 here, and a big 3rd down here. We talked about how both teams struggling, 2 for 11 combined 3rd downs here in this first half.
And if you're Lone Peak, Alex, I think you really need to capitalize on this opportunity that you've been given. You've been given a gift, an interception.
4-man on the rush. Christensen steps up, throws, and it's almost intercepted, looking for Hoffines. And we have another flag down in the backfield.
Another flag on the field.
We'll see what the penalty is here. And it is a holding against the Lone Peak Knights, and so it'll bring up 4th down. Interesting to see what Eric Kerr decides to do here. Do you make them go for it again, or do you try to give them a 4th down? And it looks like from the signal he gave our white hat, they are going to... It looks like they're going to move back. Because, Ty, you'd have to think 4th and 9 is a lot more makeable analytically than a 4th down and, say, maybe 19.
I'm no math guy, but I'm pretty sure that's true.
I'm not a math guy either, so get in line.
Yeah. I'm in line for you for a lot of things, aren't I, Alex?
Yes. Like Emily said, Lone Peak and Corner Canyon to combine 2 of 11 on 3rd downs here in this first half. Big 3rd down.
Empty backfield here, Alex.
And Christensen's back to pass. They bring an extra man. He gets away from the pressure. At the 40. He might go. Luke Christensen has the first down and more. Brought down inside the 25. And there are no penalty flags to be seen. He needed 19. He picked up 30.
The backup.
That's the way to pick up a 3rd down.
The backup, Alex.
What a gutsy play right there, too, by Christensen, the sophomore.
And he read the play from the beginning, too. You could see the backfield was so focused on coverage because that line of gain was so far. They weren't expecting him to run.
Christensen hands off to Wild on 1st down. And he gets brought down. No gain on that play. That's just the 3rd combined 3rd down conversion of this half by both sides. Like we said, Lone Peak now officially 3 of 7 on 3rd downs, or 2 of 7 on 3rd downs. Corner Canyon 1 for 6. Corner Canyon has all 3 timeouts left to go. Lone Peak still has 1. You wonder how far they're going to let it run down and see if they might try to go for a field goal at least here to end the half. But that's not probably what Bart Brockbank and Gary Trowbridge are thinking. They're thinking 6. Christensen, quarterback draw. And that time, Lone Peak was ready for it. Or rather, Corner Canyon was ready for it. Rylan Quintana comes up from his Mike linebacker spot. And it will be 3rd down and 10 when we come back from this timeout. Lone Peak in the red, approaching the red zone, trying to take some time off the clock. We got another classic brewing between these 2 Titans here in Draper. Wherever you're watching, we're glad you're joining us. There is nothing like playoff football in the state of Utah, and we got more coming up at 6 o'clock as Pleasant Grove and Skyridge face off for the right to go to Rice Eccles Stadium in a rematch of one of the games of the season so far. Dane Stewart and Moose Bingham have the calls coming up at 6 p.m. only on your home for the UHSAA Championships. KSL Sports Rewind. It is 3rd down and 10 for LP coming out of the timeout with 55 seconds left. And the noise turned up to max. Christensen, 3-man rush again. Looking, throws to the end zone, and knocked away. Looking for Logan Hoffines, broken up in the end zone by Brock White, who had the interception earlier. It's 4th down. And it will be a 42-yard field goal try here for Adam Connors. It would give Lone Peak their first lead of the ball game here with 48 seconds to go here in the first half.
I'd like to draw your attention to the goalpost real quick, Alex. As I was walking in, I noticed it was a little slanted. Let's see how this goes.
Might mess with Connors' head just a little bit. We'll see. Good snap. Good hold. Connors' kick is no good. Ball goes over on downs to Corner Canyon. And so Lone Peak not able to cash in on that turnover. And so Corner Canyon got 44 seconds to go here to try and go down and get in the end zone. Or at least get 3. Both sides have a turnover each. Both sides have a turnover on downs each. And both sides have 2 scoring drives.
Not to mention both sides have lots of 4th down conversions.
And no one has punted. Just pointing that out. No one has punted. Wilson on first down. Extra men on the rush. Looking. Throws a duck into coverage, and this time it is picked off. Intercepted by Jaden Mayberry. Well, Isaac Wilson was flirting with danger. A lot of his throws there, Ty. That time he gets burned.
Isaac Wilson was looking for points. He wanted to get his team across midfield. Unfortunately, that's a risk. We keep talking about risks this entire game. You take risks. They can either burn you or you can have a good opportunity with it. And now look at Lone Peak.
Once again across midfield, and they have 39 seconds left, and they could go down and potentially put points on the board.
Isaac Wilson, a guy that has not thrown very many interceptions this season, has already thrown 2 tonight, and it's not even the end of the first half.
Lone Peak having trouble getting lined up, and now a timeout is called. As Lone Peak now out of timeouts with 39 seconds left here in the first half. We'd like to remind you KSL Sports Rewind's coverage of the UHSAA playoffs is presented in part by Founded in Wellness. If you want to feel like yourself again, Founded in Wellness has a simplified program just for you. You can learn how to lose weight, regain energy, balance out everything, and get restful sleep. Just go to foundedinwellness.com for a free consultation. And it's also presented by doTERRA, a proud sponsor of Lone Peak Football, whose products help athletes around the world maintain the highest level of health and wellness. Learn about how you can up your health and wellness game at doTERRA. That's DOTERRA.com. What a first half we've had here at Corner Canyon High School. Alexander Timup alongside Ty Wilkinson. As we are deadlocked at 14 here with 39 seconds to go here in the first half, following the second Corner Canyon Charger turnover of the ball game. And the second consecutive drive where they've turned the ball over. Christensen from the gun. 3 men on the rush. Bails out to his right. Flag goes down again. Now rolls and fires and throws it incomplete. And it looks like this is coming back again. So it'll be the 4th penalty called against LP in this first half. And that just goes to show you just how good this defensive front 7 is under Cody Gardner. They are really fast.
Especially in a case where you could say Lone Peak has the opportunity to take a lead, as we've seen with the points off of possession in favor of Corner Canyon. They already have one. Unfortunately, Lone Peak is running on the chopping block right now, Alex, with a little bit more than 30 seconds left.
32 seconds officially left here in the first half. 1st and 20 now from inside their own end, from their own end. Christensen hands off to Wild, right side, and playing it safe as Wild gets down after a pickup of about maybe 8 or 9. There's about 20 seconds left. Minder Lone Peak will get the football to start the second half, so you do wonder just how aggressive they're going to be. And it looks like they're going to let it just run out. And that's a smart decision. And the siren has sounded here at Charger Stadium. That's it. And we bring this first half to a close with Lone Peak and Corner Canyon, the 2 titans of Utah high school football, tied at 14. Of the many things that stood out to you, what stood out to you the most from that first half? Among the many things.
The amount of defense that was played during Lone Peak's time on the field against Corner Canyon was just absurd to me. Isaac Wilson, quarterback for Corner Canyon, does not throw picks very often. 2 in the first half, Alex. And, well, obviously the playoff nerves can get to you a lot, but I think Isaac Wilson keeps trying to find those areas that get them down the field further. And unfortunately, Lone Peak's defensive coverage in the secondary has just been so good, and you can't get the ball to them because Lone Peak defenders are right there. So once again, defense is really playing a really good benefactor into how Lone Peak has been able to stick with this game, as you see 14-14 on the board.
Well, we had 6 drives in the first half, and only 4 ended in scores. The first 2 for each team ended in scores, but outside of that, only 2 other scoring drives and 2 turnovers for Corner Canyon as we bring you to a 14-all tie at halftime between these two longtime Utah high school football titans. We'll take a break, catch our breath, and be back for the second half of action. You're watching the UHSAA quarterfinals on the Rewind Sports Network, your home for the UHSAA State Championships. Wilson to throw.
Here they come.
Pritz coming off the edge. Gets away. He's got the first down. He might have more. And finally escorted out of bounds near the 14-yard line.
To the 13-yard line. First down, Chargers.
Another first down for the Corner Canyon Chargers. And again, it's Isaac Wilson doing it with his legs.
Every time Lone Peak has run the blitz, it has gone in favor of Corner Canyon just because the quarterback, Isaac, is able to run it. I mean, you got legs as good as he does. Running the blitz gives you seams. You just rely on your O-line from that point on.
Wilson to run it again. Wilson gets outside again. And Wilson diving for the corner. He's out of bounds short of the goal line, but he gets the first down, though. He's out of bounds at the 4. Officially mark him at the 3. As the Corner Canyon Chargers trying to cash in on another Lone Peak turnover. They've already cashed in on one. And that's been the difference so far. Corner Canyon has 7 points off takeaways. Unfortunately for Lone Peak, they have none on 2 takeaways. The power I formation here. And a flag. And that is going to go the other way. So it'll move the ball a little bit closer for the Corner Canyon offense here. Again, the power I formation.
And do you wonder if the displeasure of the coaches have been playing a factor into the penalties that have been called, Alex?
Yeah, it tends to be that way. It's a handoff. Touchdown! Zion Fino gets the carry into the end zone, and the Chargers do take advantage of the turnover. And our first 2-score lead of the game belongs to Corner Canyon. And it comes with 4 minutes and 28 seconds left here in the third quarter. Good snap, good hold. The extra point is up, and it is good. 28-14, Corner Canyon. 4:28 left to go here in the third quarter. We'll be back.
From commercial to recreational truck accessories, Mountain Land Truck Outfitters has got what you need. Flatbeds, spray and bed liners, lifts and leveling kits, wheels and tires. Mountain Land Truck Outfitters proudly uses a brand you know and trust. And with our experienced, knowledgeable, and friendly staff, your visit here will be informative and enjoyable. Stop into our convenient location in Provo at 265 South 100 West or call 801-225-4637 to get a quote for your fleet or individual truck. Mountain Land Truck Outfitters.
The Rewind Sports Network's coverage of UHSAA playoff football is presented all season long by Heidemann & Associates, the full flat rate law firm that is fully committed to winning for you, the client. Call in today at 801-472-7742 or contact them online at utah.law to schedule your free consultation with them courtesy of the Rewind Sports Network. Alexander Timop alongside Ty Wilkinson, Addison Kerr on the camera here at Charger Stadium in Draper. Corner Canyon Chargers off the turnover, get into the end zone again, and they lead now 28-14 with 4:28 left here in the third period. Robinson and Navahine again to return the kickoff.
Alex, you talk about the momentum. Especially if it is playoffs. Corner Canyon able to extend their lead to over half of what Lone Peak is able to confire.
And you have to also say, Ty, the turnovers have played huge dividends. The points off the turnovers have played huge dividends. Corner Canyon has 14 off their 2 takeaways. Lone Peak has not scored off any of their takeaways, and that's been the difference.
And especially since this is playoffs and you get in those dire situations, clutch opportunities can come here and there. Once again, this game is very far from over. We're just a little bit over halfway into the third quarter, and we still have another 12 minutes of play. Anything can happen.
Christensen on first down, throws quick pattern. That's complete. Hoffines, he's out of bounds after a pickup of 4. They'll give him officially 3, Logan Hoffines on the play. Again, no Jackson Blake for this Lone Peak team. We saw him take a hit earlier in this first quarter on the arm that led to the interception that he threw, and we have not seen him since. 1st and 10, or 2nd and 7 now from outside the 20. Here's a keeper by Christensen. Gets a block. Christensen cuts back upfield, and Christensen gets clobbered right at the 35-yard line. It looked like he had nowhere to go, but that offensive line led by Maddox Moss et al. Able to get him enough blocks there for a first down.
That's a good play too, Alex. I think what Lone Peak really needs to do here, if they want to try to get at least points out of this scenario, is you got to take the slow game here. We've noticed the drives in previous pass that Lone Peak is so good at just these pass in previous drives, just that they're so slow in their run game. We've seen already today a 15-play drive. It was actually a 16-play drive, courtesy of them.
Oh, Brooks Wild, that's unfortunate. Tripped on his foot as he was trying to take the handoff. A very unfortunate break right there. Loss of 3 yards on the play as we approach 3.5 minutes to go here in the quarter.
Well, that'll kill you too. We talked about the slow game. You can't go backwards in that particular scenario. You just need to keep thinking positive.
2nd down and 13. Again, Lone Peak only 2 of 8 on third downs here in this game. Corner Canyon just 1 of 7. Here's Wild again. Trying to cut back upfield. Runs into a wall and doesn't get much further. He got maybe 3. And it'll bring a 3rd down and 9 here for this Lone Peak offense. And they'll mark it officially at the 36. Again, Lone Peak just 2 of 9 on third downs. And they have missed their last 3.
Well, when you come in crucial opportunities, once again, I just think the clutch opportunities need to show. We told you the halves are different. First half can be so much more different from the second.
A blitz on 3rd down. Extra man coming. Christensen bails. Takes off. And he is not going to get the first down. He'll be short by about 3. Mark him officially at the 43-yard line. Pick up on the play of about 6. And it looks like it's going to be a punt here for Lone Peak. They're going to put it in the hands of their defense on 4th down here.
And honestly, you have no other choice but to put it in the hands of your defense. You can't. If I'm head coach, I'm not going to go for it in this scenario just because of the down and the distance of the game. And considering that, well, Corner Canyon is as good as they've been. Put the heart and the soul and the trust of your defense.
And a good punt. Line drive into the wind. And Walcott makes the fair catch. He takes it on the 15-yard line. And then we have extracurricular activity as Jackson Arrington got into a tangle with one of the gunners down there. We'll see which way they call this. It has been getting a little chippy, and Ty, like I said, you would expect that given these two teams have a long, storied history.
Well, history to say the least, Alex.
Well, yes, just to say the least.
Yeah, you can honestly call it a rivalry.
And it looks like, from the signal we're getting, it's going to be against LP.
Penalties, it looked like he said it offset.
No,
Actually,
I think it's a face mask. They're going to move it up 15 yards from that spot. So that's 15 yards. That's up to the 29-yard line, 31-yard line officially. That's a big difference from it being at the 16. 1:38 to go, third quarter. Lone Peak has not scored here in this quarter. They have not gotten past midfield yet. Their 3 possessions have ended in 2 punts and an interception. From the gun, Isaac Wilson on first down. Hands it off. Walcott breaks a tackle, still on his feet. And he finally gets brought down, but not before he picks up another 12 yards on a first down.
Okay, Alex, this defense for Lone Peak is going to withstand the test of time. It's playoffs. Coming into the closing minutes now of the third quarter. You're running out of time, and Corner Canyon is not slowing down.
In fact, they're picking up the pace, if anything, as Wilson takes off on the keeper. He's going to get close to a first down as he's brought down at the 48-yard line. You do feel that fatigue is becoming a factor, too, for LP. As we have a lot of whistles here, and officials were spotting the ball wrong on that far side.
Mm-hmm. I called a playoff game, Alex, long ago in Frisco, Texas. I shouldn't say long ago. I was a junior. And there was a team called DeSoto, and what they did was they tried to run the play as fast as possible, not giving the defense an opportunity because their run game was just so good. Took them to the playoffs and won a state championship.
It does feel like that's the way that this is going to go. As Wilson looking to throw, steps back, now throws into double coverage, but finds his man. A first down inside the 20, just like that. Corner Canyon right back in business.
And Corner Canyon going quick again. You can tell that the momentum is heavily in their favor, pushing down this further side of the field.
And like we said, fatigue might be becoming a factor here for LP. That defense has been on the field for a long time here in this third quarter. They've been on the field for almost 10 minutes.
And credit where it's due. They've held them pretty well, to say the least, but it's a bend but almost break kind of scenario.
Free rusher coming. That pass is caught. That's Snow. And Snow's going to get brought down with 12 seconds. Pickup officially of 5. And that will take us to the end of the third quarter in what has been a dominant third quarter for Corner Canyon. The siren has gone here at Charger Stadium. And the Lone Peak Knights and the Corner Canyon Chargers about to separate themselves. Corner Canyon 12 minutes away from a Rice Eccles return. But still a long way to go here in Draper. At the conclusion of tonight's game, Ty and I will be selecting our choice for the Heidemann Associates Player of the Game. We'll also have a look forward to the semifinals and the finals at Rice Eccles Stadium. Coverage starts next Thursday morning, bright and early, 10 o'clock a.m., only here on your home for the UHSAA State Championships. KSL Sports Rewind. A full hour pregame show starts at 10, taking you up to kickoff at 11 a.m. with Jeremiah Jensen, Stevenson Sylvester, and Mary Louise Cook. And we are in for some fun semifinals. Down at Rice Eccles Stadium, a lot of people think, the so-called experts, think that Corner Canyon and American Fork are the two teams to beat. But Skyridge, Lehigh, both looming on their heels. And as we've seen this year, anything can happen. Corner Canyon will start this quarter with the ball and a chance to go for the throat. Second and goal, 2nd and 4 from the 13. Wilson to throw. Pressure. And he gets dropped. Ball's out. Still loose. Still on the ground. I think Corner Canyon might have just coughed it up again. Or did they? Lone Peak has the football. Tegan Towell with his second fumble recovery of the game. And again, it was Bot Mulatalo who came through and ripped it out. First sack of the game, the third turnover of the game for Corner Canyon.
And that is probably the biggest play if you're Lone Peak. When Corner Canyon is knocking on the door of your red zone territory looking to score, I don't think there's anything better than getting the ball off of their possession and their unfortunate mistake.
So from the gun, Luke Christensen, 3-man rush, plenty of time, throws for Robinson, and he is incomplete, and there is a flag in the area of where Robinson got held up, and I think that's a good penalty to take right there because Robinson had his two guys beat, and he was probably going to still be running up that sideline.
I would agree too, but here's the thing. The penalties that you can only take can only get you so far. We mentioned before that the penalties that Corner Canyon has taken, at least the majority of them, have played a huge factor in how this game has been going. Like tons and tons of just random, it doesn't even feel like random. They're just penalties that are not unfortunate to this team. And to say the least, Alex, it's kind of interesting because, well, this penalty yardage has just played such a good factor in how Lone Peak's offense is structured around so far.
7 penalties called against Corner Canyon. That's unheard of. Christensen, quick pass. And that is incomplete. Jay-Sean Mayberry couldn't hold on. It was Moke Gabrielson who broke it up. Mayberry has pretty strong hands, but they weren't strong enough against one of the best cover corners in the state.
And again, the secondary for Corner Canyon really needs to show up because it seems like Lone Peak has gone to the passing game a lot more. You can't completely rely on Mr. Brookwild himself. Although he is a good running back, I think Corner Canyon has that situation figured out. So now they have to transition to figure out the pass game. And I think they're doing that so far in the secondary with the defensive backs.
All credit to Coach Cody Gardner and the defense. Here's a handoff to Wild, left side. And good penetration on that edge. Nowhere to go on that one. And this is going to bring up another monster third down here for LP. It's going to be 3rd and 9 at their 41-yard line.
And if you're the defense for Lone Peak, all you can do is hope and pray that this drive continues. You're fatigued. You're tired. This is playoffs. You have something to play for. You're putting it all on the line, and your heart is just throbbing in pain. All you can do is hope, it feels like, if you're Lone Peak defense, to try to get this drive to keep going.
Lone Peak, 2 of 10 on third downs. They missed their last 5. Four-man rush. Christensen gets out. Christensen looking downfield. Lobs it up. And it is incomplete. Logan Hoffhines was there, but couldn't make the catch. And it's 4th down, and Lone Peak again not able to take advantage of the turnover, and they're going to punt it again.
And this defense for Corner Canyon has really stepped up. And these possessions that Lone Peak has been able to get off of these turnovers, Corner Canyon, you would think, essentially has just given them a gift. But unfortunately, the defense becomes proving strong for the Chargers.
10:42 left to go here in the game. Good snap, and the punt is a nice line drive. Walcott on the run from the 10. And he's going to get about to the 15 before the cavalry gets there to bring him down.
Walcott on the return onto the 15-yard line.
50-yard punt, 5-yard return, net 55 on that play. As we remind you once again, the KSL Sports coverage of Lone Peak football presented by G2G Protein Bar is also presented by Igloo Outfitters, the coziest wearable sleeping bag that has you covered during the chilly days and nights. Don't worry about the weather, and you can watch your favorite team in comfort with Igloo Outfitters. Go to igloooutfitters.com and enter Rewind for $20 off. Isaac Wilson from the gun keeps it on 1st down, and he gets brought down after a pickup of about maybe 3 that time. They'll give him officially 4.
And so now the heart and soul of the defense is going to be tested for what seems like desperation for this Lone Peak team. 10 minutes still remain. You got plenty of time, I feel like. That's plenty of time to try to get 2 drives formulated for your offense.
Lone Peak has forced 3 turnovers. They have not had a single point off them all afternoon. Wilson, quarterback draw, throw, and looked like he was trying to set up a screenplay, just threw it into the dirt. He said the pass was tipped. We'll bring up a 3rd down here for Corner Canyon, and likewise Corner Canyon has struggled on 3rd down, 1 of 7 on 3rd downs. They have missed their last 5.
And this has been a struggling 4th quarter for them, just considering the situations that they've been put in. An interception, and what's going to be close to about a 3 and out if they are able to prevail across this point. But we reach single digits in the minutes of remaining.
Lone Peak crowd across the way trying to turn up the volume. Play clock down to 2, down to 1. And they just got it away. Wilson to throw on 3rd down. Throws complete. And that is going to be short of the 1st down. CJ Rubel out there with Arrington on the stop. It's 4th and about a yard. Oh boy, what about this call here? This is a gutsy call here. 4th and 1 on their own 24, and they're going to go for it.
They're on the cliff. Do they jump?
Wow.
What do you think, Alex? Do they jump to try and draw them off sides?
You would think that would be the play. And they are going to try to jump them.
I don't think they can do it. They're going to have to call timeout.
We'll see if they do it one more time, and they won't.
Good stand by this defense. Once again,
Wow.
it's put in its heart and soul, it feels like, Alex, to try to keep Lone Peak in it.
A 30-second timeout call by Corner Canyon. We will keep it here. We want to bring you up to date on the other playoff games going around the state. Of course, we told you at 5 o'clock, Davis and Lehigh would be kicking off down the road here. We have PG and Skyridge kicking off, along with Timpanogos and Park City also kicking off. And currently in the second quarter, Lehigh leads Davis 24-7. And the other two games between AF and Bingham and Skyridge and PG are just getting underway now, along with Timpanogos and Park City. And Ty, let's shine some spotlight on the Lehigh Pioneers. I mean, like, no big deal. They come up from 5A to 6A. Everybody thinks their ceiling is 5-5. They might be very well on the verge of going to Rice-Eccles Stadium for a third consecutive year, this time as a member of 6A.
As a member of 6A?
That tells you how good that team is.
I mean, the transition of going from a lower division to a higher division that's been played and has the experience is really incredible, Alex.
So 4th down and about a yard. Brock White will kick it away. His first punt of the night, and it's an end-over-ender that Nabahine will take. And bobble, now he has to run. Nabahine gets a block. Matias Nabahine still on his feet and brought down at the 30. Brock White, the punter, finally caught him. And that tells you just how dangerous the senior Matias Nabahine is on special teams. We saw it against Westlake, and you saw it right there.
Oh, my goodness, Alex. That could have gone one of two ways.
You pounded the table because you thought he was aloha.
I thought he was aloha and goodbye. And that's not the hello. That was goodbye all day long.
That was goodbye.
Oh, my goodness, Alex. That could have gone one of two ways. The drop. I think the drop really helped him because he had the out route, and all of the defenders are already there.
Christensen back in the gun. 1st and 10 from the Corner Canyon 30. How things have changed. Run. Christensen. Left side. And he gets spun out of bounds at about the 24-yard line. They want a flag over there. I don't think there was really that much contact, but what do I know? It's Lone Peak Corner Canyon too, Ty. They're going to let a little bit of that go.
Just a little bit too, Alex. The sun is setting. It is getting cold. Playoffs are happening. Sooner or later, they'll be beyond the mountains. It's going to be nothing but darkness here.
8:49 to go here in the regulation periods.
You talk about the ambiance. The stage is set.
Lone Peak trying to keep their season alive. From the 24 now, Christensen to throw. Throws wide side. That is complete, but not for a whole lot, to Jay Sean Mayberry. And Mayberry will get about maybe 2 yards there. And it's going to bring up another 3rd down. One Lone Peak has to convert here on 3rd down and 3 from the 22-yard line.
Lone Peak's offense has not had a very considerable play so far in this considerable quarter. Actually, I would say this half as a whole, Alex, just this offense itself has not been able to provide any cushion, given that the defense has been so good against Corner Canyon.
It's a handout to Wild, looking for the gap, and he ain't going to get it. Well, he's short by about a yard, so maybe a little bit more gain than we thought they were going to give him. But it is 4th down, and with 7:50 to go here in regulation, Ty. I mean, you talk about a season-defining play here for head coach Bart Brockbank's team. This is it. And they're going to talk it over here. We will as well, to build the drama. The Salt Lake Running Company will let you catch your breath, but then come back for the drama. At the end of tonight's game, Ty Wilkinson and I will be selecting our choice for the Heidemann Associates Player of the Game. Our last one of this 2023 football season. Well, here we go. Corner Canyon, Lone Peak. One play right here.
Can they defy all expectations and odds?
Flag down. Christensen got the first down, but there's a flag down. There is a penalty marker down. Christensen got the first down. It does not matter. There is an illegal shift. 2 men in motion. What second effort, though, by the sophomore to get that first down. But now it's going to be 4th and 6. Well, 4th down and 6 to go. And you have to think Lone Peak's got to make it. With an eye towards returning to Rice Eccles for the first time since 2021.
Well, the play clock is ticking, Alex. This isn't that 1 yard gain that you need to get at that line.
And time is running out, too. They're 2 for 2 on 4th downs here tonight.
This is the game.
Christensen to throw. Looking to the end zone. What a contact. And incomplete. Here comes a flag. Jay-Sean Mayberry was held up on the play. And Bart Brockbank was about to call a timeout. Didn't matter. It'll be first down. That is the 8th penalty of the night against Corner Canyon, Ty, and that is the 4th given by first down tonight.
Well, and did I not say that the penalties, courtesy of Corner Canyon, have come at the most crucial points? What's more crucial than that? 4th down and 6. You could get the ball back. Instead, wow, I'm just in shock.
7 minutes, 9 seconds to go. 1st and 10 from the Corner Canyon 16-yard line for Christensen. He's going to throw. Looking. Throws the fade to the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! And a flag! Trey Robinson with the score! You would assume it's going to be a defensive penalty against Corner Canyon. We will wait to see what the flag is. It would be Robinson's 2nd touchdown of the night.
Let's see what the call is.
And it looks like the signal is it's against Corner Canyon.
A touchdown with a side of mustard.
And that penalty will go over to the kickoff. And with 7 minutes and 3 seconds to go, the Lone Peak Knights are right back in it. And this place just got eerily quiet.
Well, one side did.
One side did anyway. Adam Connor's extra point is up, and it is good. Buckle up, everyone. We have 7 minutes left in Draper, Utah. 1 ticket to go to Rice Eccles Stadium on the line. And we got a 1-score game.
I love my new Blazer. It's cute and comfortable, very quiet, and drives really good in any weather condition. My experience buying it here at John Watson Chevrolet was super awesome. Everyone was really friendly. I didn't feel a ton of pressure, and they helped me get the exact Blazer that I wanted. Definitely a 5-star experience.
John Watson Chevrolet, your 5-star Chevy dealer.
I would give them 6 or 7 stars if I could.
Well, settle back in, strap down, and buckle up, everyone. We have 7 minutes and 3 seconds, and Lone Peak back in this ball game, down by 7 points. On a touchdown from Luke Christensen to Trey Robinson, Alexander Timolip, Ty Wilkinson, Addison Kerr on the camera. There is nothing like playoff football on a Friday night in the Beehive State.
Well,
and you can't get any better than these two Titans going at it right now.
You really
it is a dogfight.
And Alex, let me ask you a question here. You're across midfield.
No, don't do an onside kick.
Yeah.
Please don't do an onside kick.
Wouldn't that be so interesting, though?
But I don't think Adam Connors will do it at this time.
Or try a ground ball. Let's see.
Well, it is a ground ball. And it'll be Walcott on the run. And he'll run into the cavalry right at the 19. He won't make it to the 20.
Ball carried out to the 20-yard line. First down, Chargers.
So, Ty, we talked about how this Corner Canyon team, as we have some pushing and shoving, again, after the play, got to be careful. It's getting chippy, and these officials are doing their job to keep these two teams apart. But now, Ty, I turn to you, and Ty, if there was ever a season-defining drive, potentially a career-defining drive for Isaac Wilson here at CC, this is pretty much it right here. You got a one-score game with 7 minutes to go.
This is pretty close, too. Alex, this is the ranked 17th team in the nation.
And now I think the officials have had enough. They're going to call the coaches, Eric Kerr and Bart Brockbank, good friends, to midfield. And Ty, I like this conversation right here. You got 6:54 to go. Things are getting chippy. Things have been emotional this whole game. This is a good job by this officiating crew, just getting Brockbank and Kerr, two experienced coaches out there, and just telling them, look, we've had enough of the shenanigans. We want this to be a cleanly played game. Let's not ruin it here.
You can sense about 18 volts of electricity between those two coaches, too. Just the amount of tension that has been able... The amount of tension that's just been able to be seen here tonight, Alex.
And furthermore, I texted Dusty Litzner, who's watching this at halftime. We didn't think it'd be this tight. He literally just responded to us and said, me neither.
Well, game's not over yet
either. It is certainly not over yet. We still got 7 minutes to go here in this one. But again, things have been getting a little chippy, a little emotional, so the officiating crew just taking some time and getting the coaches and players together and telling everyone, let's just bring it down 10%.
Again, I'm sensing about 18 volts of electricity between these two teams. That's how much the tension is between the rivalry. Just the storyline that you can't get past.
You go back to the history of these two teams. They've been the titans of Utah high school football for a long time. Wilson on first down. Blitz coming. Pass is caught. And making the catch and getting run over. There's actually a double number 3 on Corner Canyon's roster. We'll try to get that for... That is Krishan Lee. Pick up a 5 right there for the senior.
Well, we talked about it.
Huge drive.
Mr. Isaac.
Wilson going to keep it. Gets a good block on the left side. Gets the sideline. And a first down as he is tripped up out of bounds at the 41-yard line. He got a great block from that left tackle, Paxton Nagel, out on the edge. A pancake and a first down.
And if you're Lone Peak, we've seen it so many times, Alex, this team bringing every ounce of sweat onto the field, dropping everything that they have. Their hearts are probably pounding in their chest because they know the situation of the down.
Wilson going to run it again. And this time a great open field tackle. Got maybe 2 yards on the play. They give him officially 1. And we should point out the other thing that play did, Ty, that last play, it stopped the clock.
It did.
With 6:20 to go. So now the clock running here with under 6 minutes to go.
I mean, you want to talk about the adversity that this defense has been put through the test. It's not easy being beaten the 17th team in the nation. And if you're pretty darn close, especially in the playoffs, that's a pretty good sign.
Wilson to throw. Blitz coming. Throws, and that pass got deflected at the line of scrimmage. And now this brings up a monster third down because, Tyler, like we said, remember, Corner Canyon has not converted on their last 7 third downs.
And, Alex, this is what recruiters look for. These third downs, the big scenarios, the big kahuna. Can you get past and try to get that line to gain? Especially if you're a quarterback like Isaac and program as good as Corner Canyon has been all year. This is what the recruiters look for. It's just if you can prevail and become clutch in these dire situations. Can they do it?
Play clock down to 2. And we have a timeout. Eric Kerr will chat it over with this quarterback.
Just building the drama.
And building the drama. We'll take one as well with them. Heading down to the final 5 minutes in crunch time here with Lone Peak trailing by a score in another Chargers Knights Classic. Well, 3rd down and 8 coming up here for Corner Canyon as the defending 6A runners-up the number 17 team in the nation according to Max Preps, and number 24 in the rankings according to USA Today Super 25. Now faces the biggest third down of the year.
Once again, this is what the recruiters look for.
Lone Peaks, Ryan Denny defense. Looks like they're bringing everybody.
The thoughts that are going inside of Isaac Wilson's head right now.
They're bringing it. And here they come. Wilson throws. Caught! First down!
And that is clutch.
And that's why Utah likes him so much. Their first third down conversion since late in the second quarter. More pressure coming. Wilson throws quick. Complete. Take care. Care breaks a couple of tackles. And again, close to another first down. We haven't called his name a whole lot, but he comes up with another big play.
2 for 2 on those first downs now, Alex. You think this team is going to get a lot more momentum carried in their favor.
5 minutes and 10 seconds. Still a lot of time left here in this ball game. Lone Peak has not converted on any of their 3 takeaways tonight, but they have done all they can to stay in it. Walcott the handoff. Walcott close to. That's actually Brighton Brady who got the handoff, and we are going to get a first down signaled officially.
3 in a row.
That's 3 in a row on 3 consecutive plays for this offense. Play clock running inside of 20. 4 minutes and 35 seconds to go here in the game. Wilson to throw. Blitz up the middle. Throw. That is broken up. And that was Matias Navahine, who had the big punt return earlier. Gets the big PBU right there.
Alex, I have to admit, every time that Corner Canyon gets closer and closer to that red zone line, it seems like they seem to break a little bit, just in their chemistry as a whole and as an offense.
Brady fakes the handoff. It's Wilson. Wilson balls out. But was he down? He was down. And a big break there for Corner Canyon.
Well, I told you something's going to happen.
He stopped at the 18-yard line.
Stopped at the 18-yard line. They say his arm was down, so another third down coming up here for LP's defense. You do wonder how long it's going to be before Bart Brockbank starts using those timeouts. He still has 2 left. Corner Canyon in no hurry here, up by 7. They've already converted a 3rd and 8. Wilson to run, gets away, and got the first down. What a move, as Wilson was in serious trouble at a first down.
You talk about a quarterback in probably the most important drive, not only of the season, but probably of his career thus far in high school football.
So after missing their last 7 third downs, Corner Canyon's hit their last 2.
And Alex, you need to remain controlful of the ball, especially when you're this close to getting points on the board.
And Eric Kerr is going to take another timeout as the play clock was running down inside of 0. There is 2:57 left to go here in regulation. Corner Canyon trying to close the door. Lone Peak trying to keep hope alive. Well, Corner Canyon facing another 4 downs to take some time off the clock here. Up 28-21. With 2 minutes and 58 seconds officially left in the game. Alexander Tumulip and Ty Wilkinson. As Isaac Wilson looking to cement his team's return to Rice-Eccles Stadium. Clock will start on the snap. Brady gets the handoff. And he gets forward for about maybe 5 yards, brought down on the play by a whole host of white shirts. Second down and 5 coming up here from the 11-yard line. Again, Lone Peak still has 2 timeouts in their back pocket. Corner Canyon has no more TOs left.
Matchup scenarios and play calls come down to this, Alex. If you're Lone Peak, a defense that's been, one would say, given it all on the field, and you come down to this situation where Corner Canyon is pretty much closing the door on you, they're trying to involve checkmate.
Brady, keeper, Wilson, and he's going to be brought down, and Brockbank will immediately signal for a timeout with 2 minutes and 5 seconds left here in the game.
Timeout on the field taken by Lone Peak.
Want to remind you, of course, of the other games going on around the state. Davis against Lehigh going on right now. That game has just hit halftime. It is 24-7 in favor of Lehigh. Late in the first quarter, American Fork leads Bingham 14-0. And shocker tie. First quarter, PG and Skyridge tied at 7. Shocker.
Not a shocker at all,
I know, right? And it just tells you just how loaded this 6A classification is. Just so many good teams.
Especially when the fire powers meet each other. You can't fight fire with fire. I mean, you can, but obviously fire has to win, but one fire has to die, it feels like.
And certainly for a large part of this game, the defenses have been able to extinguish the fires or lack thereof on both sides. Lone Peak with 3 takeaways tonight, but Corner Canyon has 2. And the big difference, Ty, is that Lone Peak not able to take advantage of their turnovers. 3 takeaways, no points.
3 takeaways, no points, and that's not a good statistic if you're the offense as well. As for the defense, though, once again, I keep alluding to Lone Peak's defense giving it all on the line. It feels like they've tried everything in their power to keep trying and trying and trying to get this offense back on the field. It's just this offense, courtesy of Corner Canyon.
Brady, the handoff. Brady, touchdown! They needed the drive. Their quarterback gives them the drive. And Brighton Brady may have just put this one away. The extra point is up, and it is good. 35-21. Corner Canyon leads with 2 minutes to go here in this ball game. And Ty, if we ever talked about a drive that Corner Canyon desperately needed with a 1-score game, I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better drive out of that than from Isaac Wilson.
Well, and there's a reason Utah likes him, as you mentioned before, is because he can come up clutch in those crucial opportunities. Arguably probably the biggest drive that he's had this far in his high school career. Only a 7-point pad that you had with the lead in that particular drive. In the playoffs, might I add. This is to move on. One team has to go home and one has to stay. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I felt like Lone Peak stuck with him so well. But you just got to give credit, and all that is due to Isaac.
A drive that started at the 19-yard line with 7 minutes to go. A 3rd down and 8, 3rd down and 3, and a 3rd down and 2 all converted. A 13-play drive covering 80 yards. And 5 minutes and 4 seconds later, the Corner Canyon Chargers are now 2 minutes and 1 second away from going back to Rice-Eccles Stadium. Touchback, 20-yard line. And now it's up to Luke Christensen to at least get some positive momentum going here on this final drive.
A little bit of cockiness shown, too, from Corner Canyon. a team and a program in football that has been so good for so many years.
But they faced some adversity today, that's for sure, Ty. They have not been tested this tough since the Bishop Gorman game here back in August, as Christensen steps up, and he is brought down after a pickup of about maybe 3 yards. One timeout left for Lone Peak, 1 minute 45 left to go. Christensen to throw, throws. That is complete to Jay-Sean Mayberry. Rather than Jaden Mayberry, a first down up to the 32-yard line. They'll stop the clock while they set the chains. And as you can tell, Corner Canyon students not being very sympathetic to their rival. As Christensen trying to get a block, and he gets brought down after a pickup of maybe 5. Certainly cannot fault how good this sophomore has been stepping up in a tough situation tonight.
Only a 3-man rush, too, Alex. I'd like to draw your attention to that.
And they're going with 8. That pass is intercepted. Or rather, it's incomplete. They're going to say it's incomplete. So it'll be second down, and the clock will stop with 1 minute 4 seconds left in the game.
Official across the middle says it hit the ground, so it's incomplete.
Doesn't matter. It'll be third down anyway.
A minute extra to play, too. Again, they're running the 3-man rush formation. Mainly focusing on the backfield, it feels like. You got a man at the 50, the man at the 48.
Yeah, they got people lined up across that hash mark, one hash mark to the other. Christensen, extra men on the rush, throws, that's complete. Robinson better get moving, and he is not going to get the first down. They may give him the spot, though, on forward progress. They will.
I think that's forward progress, but they tackled him inbounds.
Yeah. 51 seconds in running. Christensen dropped. Cash Dillon. And a timeout is called by Bart Brockbank with 40 seconds left. A little extra finishing touches, as that's the first sack of the night for Corner Canyon. But Ty, we have to give credit where credit is due. This Lone Peak team, I mean, for all their inconsistencies throughout the season, all the ups and downs they endured, they played a heck of a ball game here tonight against one of the best teams, if not in the state, probably in the country.
And this is a Lone Peak team that we saw play Westlake, and we didn't think that they had a very good shot going into the playoffs, considering the down and the distance of the game that they were having to play against and trying to prove something. But Alex, you got to give credit to Mr. Luke, the quarterback, because he has just played one heck of a game. The stats have proven it. It's your first playoff game. You're playing against a guy, Mr. Isaac Wilson, who's already committed to a D1 university. Not to mention probably most of the other team is already committed for football scholarships all over the place. And here you are, a backup, and still managing to pull this situation off.
He throws. That is intercepted. And that will be the finishing touch on this one here tonight.
Kicks the ball out of the air for the interception.
And that will wrap this one up.
Corner Canyon takes over.
And we'll put Corner Canyon back at Rice-Eccles Stadium for the 4th consecutive year. The 3rd takeaway of the night for this Corner Canyon team. But realistically, this situation, this scenario, this is what they're used to here at Corner Canyon. It's just what they do. The teams will come to midfield.
We're headed to Rice-Eccles Stadium.
As for the 3rd consecutive season, the powerhouse, of Utah high school football, the number 17 team in the country, is heading back to where it belongs, and hopefully on the high mountaintop they belong on once more. The Corner Canyon Chargers win over the Lone Peak Knights 35-21 in another classic between these two Utah high school titans. We'll be back to wrap it all up and to wrap our season up here on the Rewind Sports Network. Well, they're used to celebrating here at Corner Canyon. Tonight will be no different, as the 6A runners-up will get a chance for revenge. They win it here tonight 35-21 over Lone Peak in what was another classic between these two longtime rivals. Alexander Timolip and Ty Wilkinson putting a bow on this one and our 2023 football season together. So, Ty, what a game we witnessed tonight. What a game from minute 1 to minute 48. Let's first give credit where credit is due to the Lone Peak Knights for all their inconsistency, for all the ups and downs they've had. This was a phenomenal game they played tonight in what ended up being their last game of the year. You
got to talk about a team that is heavily unfavored in this matchup between CC and Lone Peak. Just so unfavored just in the regards to the amount of points that have been scored in this game. And, well, Alex, to tell you the truth, Lone Peak had very many opportunities to actually come away with the win. So the fact that they could almost have done that is a victory in and of itself, playing the number 17 team in the nation.
So Corner Canyon moves on to Rice-Eccles Stadium. Congrats to Bart Brockbank and Lone Peak on a fantastic season. We wish them well in the future. And, of course, it's just what they do. Eric Harris, Corner Canyon Chargers, heading back to Rice-Eccles Stadium. You know, we talked about how this Corner Canyon team, they really hadn't faced adversity really all season long outside of Bishop Gorman. Tonight, really, Ty, was the first time they faced some adversity. What stood out to you about the way this team fought through that adversity here tonight?
Well, it's courtesy of the offense, I feel like. Going into the second half, tied 14-14, the Chargers come out charging. And that's no pun intended. They literally came out with fierce intensity in their eyes, and they knew that they wanted to take it back to Rice-Eccles Stadium, and that's how I feel like they got it done. And to tell you the truth, Alex, it was the momentum game. You could tell it on both sides. Momentum was either in the favor of Lone Peak, an away team, it felt like, and they travel so well. But Corner Canyon, unbelievable, came back, they charged the energy, no pun intended yet again, and, well, obviously they ended up getting the win over Lone Peak tonight.
So now time to name our Heidemann Associates Player of the Game, presented by the full-service law firm, fully committed to winning for you, the client. Somewhere number one is down there in the mosh pit, but come on, Utah commit Isaac Wilson with the drive that sent his team back to Rice-Eccles Stadium. That man single-handedly led his team back to Rice-Eccles Stadium tonight. He's our unanimous choice for Player of the Game.
And you gotta love him too. Just a guy with all-around strength and power. Came up in the most clutch of opportunities. We talked about this is what the recruiters look for. You come up in these clutch opportunities. The clutch opportunities is what's going to have to pay dividends and how you're going to win these games. And that's what they look for in college football. And especially in this case, going into the rest of the season as they head over to Rice-Eccles Stadium and try to win yet another state championship.
So, Ty, let's put a bow on that now. This is, of course, our final football telecast of 2023. Of course, Dusty and the boys will take over next week and the week after for state championships. What impresses you the most about this field going in, and who do you think is the favorite right now in 6A, given that we saw American Fork make a statement last week? But you have to say, Corner Canyon might have made a bigger statement here tonight with the way they weathered this storm. There's no doubt in my mind, Ty, these are the two best teams, Corner Canyon and AF, going for the title right now.
And those are another big rivalry teams that you'll see may potentially face each other. And the reason why it's such a really good and big deal is because these Chargers have just been so good and so talented. And American Fork, we talked about those two early playoff exits a few games ago. Round 2 is not their friend. They want to prove something else, and it's against this Corner Canyon team that they could be able to do so. It's been 3 years in a row, and I think American Fork might have that a little bit edge of momentum considering that they have had that long-awaited playoff run.
And Ty, of course, being that this is the last telecast of the football season, you've been dropping hints all night.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you go ahead and tell the folks why tonight was so special for me, especially?
Well, it's such a special game for Alex because it is your 50th game being able to call. And honestly, Alex, you're probably one of the best in the business to do it over at KSL. I can't thank you enough for what you've been able to accomplish.
And I also, I can't take all the credit for it. It's you guys that make me sound smarter than I actually am. Ty, Alex Amrine, Colton Potter, Tyler Gibb. I can't list off all my color guys on here, but throughout these 50 games, it's just been an amazing ride. And, of course, we can't forget to thank Dusty Litzter and Vince Francis for giving really an unproven kid like me, a 23-year-old, a chance to live out his dream. And I will say I am glad I got to live out that dream, and I'm glad I get to live it out with you every single week. And it's sad it has to come to an end tonight.
Well, it's unfortunate, Alex. Maybe you'll be here next year. Maybe we'll call another game.
Well, who knows? We might be.
Only the future will hold at this point. But are you happy that was your 50th game to call?
That was quite a classic. And Ty, thank you so much for joining me on the ride this season.
It's been my pleasure.
If I'm still here in 2024, I'll see you next season.
Hey, why not, right, buddy? Let's keep it going.
I'd like to thank cameraman Addison Kerr and Mike Christensen, Tino Psyche, and Austin Bigelow for their tireless work all season long. Our work is done here, folks, for 2023. We thank you for watching the UHSAA playoffs on KSL Sports Rewind, your home for the UHSAA state championships. Your final score, Corner Canyon 35, Lone Peak 21. Until next season, ladies and gentlemen, we say aloha from Utah. Good night. And remember, Maui, we love you and we're thinking about you. Good night, everyone.